Hello, I didn't see you come in. Always wanted to start a video that way. Welcome to a RespShop ranking video, and I'm pretty excited because today we're going to be ranking Fisher and Paykel masks. Now, if you've watched many of my videos, you'll know that I'm a little bit of a fanboy when it comes to F&P. And the reason is I think they're the most innovative CPAP brand out there right now, and the only ones really trying to challenge ResMed for their space of supremacy. Really just on the masks side right now. Fisher and Paykel hopefully will release a new CPAP machine some point in future. I don't have any insider knowledge, I'm just hopeful. But their masks really do impress me, and they're clearly putting a lot of thought behind how they want to improve our experiences using CPAP equipment, because let's face it, a lot of CPAP equipment is not very user-friendly. So I'm very appreciative of them for that. So let's take a look at the models we're going to be ranking today, as well as the tier system that I've come up with for today's episode. I always like to have a little bit of fun with that, as you know. So how about those tiers, the ranking kind? This time I decided to go with famous book names and throwing a bit of a CPAP spin on them. I'm kind of running out of categories, so I'll be honest. We've done songs, we've done movies, this time I'm doing books. So if you have a pretty good idea of what other categories I could go with, get in the comments below, let me know, help a brother out. For this one, for book titles, and you might know I'm a bit of a Lord of the Rings fan, so our top tier is The Lord of the Dreams. I like that one. Up next, actually this one's pretty good too. The Wind in the Pillows. Yes, that's a good one. I'm proud of this one too. A series of unfortunate apnea events. And then our worst category that we don't want to be in is the air hunger games. Air hunger in CPAP lingo, I guess. CPAP has its own lingo if you didn't know. It's kind of like where you're kind of starving for air and you're breathing in too much. Happens often with high pressures and the like. Not a good experience. That's our bottom category. And the masks that we're going to be ranking today, we've got the Solo, both the nasal and the pillow variant. We've got the Eson 2, the Vitera, the Evora Full, the Evora Nasal, the Nova Micro, the newest mask out of this collection, which is the Nova Nasal, and the Brevida. So let's start with the Fisher and Paykel Solo. Now, it's not very often in the CPAP industry that a product comes out and revolutionizes the way that things are done, but the Solo is one of the few examples of that. It has a unique auto-tightening system in the straps. Think of it almost like a car seatbelt, that as adjustments are made, it tightens itself and fits the contours of your face without you needing to use Velcro straps or changing or adjusting things. It does it for you. You just move the cushion in place where you need it to go. Pretty cool stuff. We cut one open, we took a look at the mechanism inside, and it's pretty ingenious, and massive props to Fisher and Paykel for trying something pretty daring and bold and new like this in the CPAP industry. It's minimalist, it's lightweight, there's two variants. You've got your nasal cradle style, which sits underneath your nostrils with a slit in that you breathe through, and then there's the pillow style that protrudes up your nostrils. Once your nostrils harden, gives you even better seal versus leak. So there's a lot to like about this mask and some really refreshing ideas. However, but as with all new tech, sometimes there's some squeaky parts that still need working out that hopefully over time will get worked out. We'll get new iterations that work even better. But as it is right now, there are a couple flaws with this tensioning system and the straps. Firstly, the headgear can shift on your head a little bit, especially if you have longer hair and those locks, it will slide around. Oh, I feel so bad for you. But also more importantly, this tension system can often over-tighten through the night, and people will either get woken up by it being too tight, or you might just wake up in the morning with a very sore nose. So be aware of that. Or the opposite can happen, that the tension can loosen during the night, and then of course we introduce leaks. So it's not a foolproof system yet by any means, but hopefully that will improve in future. There's also pretty limited air diffusion system on the Solo. Just kind of drilled holes in the front there, so it is a little bit of a noisier mask if you do sleep with a bed partner. So like I said, I really hope Fisher and Paykel don't give up on this. I think they could be at the start of something pretty awesome. But for right now, this one has kind of missed the mark for me at least. If you use the Solo every night and you love it, let me know. Maybe I'm just missing something here, but from what I can tell, this can be a bit of a repeated issue. I'm going to stick this in the bottom category for now with hesitation. But honestly, that's just because I really like Fisher and Paykel, and I feel like some of these other masks I want to stick higher up. So up next, we've got the Eson 2. Now the Eson 2, genius marketing by the way, just read Eson backwards and that will tell you what this mask is. It's a nasal mask, but it almost doesn't look like a nasal mask because it's such a big mask. And that's because it has this stability sort of frame right in the center of your face following your nose up, which is there for that very reason, stability. It's a very solid mask that's going to provide very little leaks once you get it fitting nicely. And with that stability bar there, it does allow the head strap on the top to go across your forehead. So you've got some nice adjustments that you can make for a really strong seal. It also has a full 360 rotation on the front joint here, so it's very flexible if you toss and turn a lot at night. There's a lot to like about the Eson 2. Now the Eson 2 uses clips rather than magnets to attach the straps to the cushion, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your use case. Most people like the convenience of magnets. They snap on and off fairly easily, which makes bathroom breaks at the night a bit more convenient. But some people, if you have a pacemaker, you might not be able to use magnets, so clips might be the only way that you can go. So again, depending on your use case. One thing also with the Eson 2 is it has a mesh on the front of the cushion, which helps diffuse the noise. It's a pretty quiet mask overall. Probably the biggest reason why people would not go with the Eson 2, like I said, is that it's pretty bulky. And that stability bar on the front there means you can't wear glasses. So if you like to read before bed or watch TV, that bar in the very minimum is going to be an inconvenience and be in your field of view, or it might just mean that you can't do some of those activities that you like. But if you're just going to stick this on, head straight to hit the sack, then the Eson 2 makes a really great option for those that want a nice, stable mask. So overall, I think there is a lot to like. It doesn't have some of the features of some of these newer masks that we'll get to in just a bit, but a very solid, good nasal option if you want a great seal with a nasal mask. So I'm going to put this in the wind in the pillows. I love that category. Yeah, good choice if you need something like this. The Vitera. Now the Vitera is the tank of the CPAP mask world. This is about as solid of a mask as you could get. Looks similar to the Eson 2 in that it has the stability bar, but it's on a full face mask rather than a nasal mask, which again is going to give you even more stability. And of course, if you're a mouth breather, then the Eson 2 is going to be out for you anyway. The Vitera would be your next option. ResMed's AirFit F20 is kind of the closest equivalent, but this has even more stability on it than that does. So again, if you don't mind bulk, this could be a great option, especially if you use high pressure or if you're a BiPAP user with very high inhalation pressures, and this could be a great option for you. It has a roll fit cushion, and that just means it's pretty stable. You can move this cushion around and it's going to stay tight to where you've placed it on your face. So really good design, really solid option. Again, if you don't mind bulk and want as strong a seal as possible, the Vitera could be the perfect mask for you. And honestly, of all these masks that we're going to talk about today, I think this is one of our best reviewed. And on YouTube, I get people commenting a lot about the masks that they've tried and the setups that they have. I see it pop up a lot that people use the Vitera and they've tried all these other masks and they always found leaks until they found this mask, and now they're never going back to anything else. So again, if that sounds like something that appeals to you, then the Vitera could be a great choice. Like the Eson 2, it uses clips and not magnets, so again, a little less convenient for restroom breaks. And of course, that stability bar means you cannot wear glasses with the mask and is in your field of view again if you would find that an annoyance. Other than that, there's really not too many drawbacks on this mask, so I think this is a respectable first entry into our Lord of the Rings. And watch this. Woohoo! We're celebrating. All right, up next, we've got the Evora 4. Now, if the Vitera is the tank of the CPAP world, then the Evora 4 you can think of more like a muscle car. Still pretty solid and strong, but it's not a tank. Come on. So this loses some of that stability. It doesn't have that stability bar. It's more like a traditional full face mask, with a couple of bit of a unique sort of angle, one of which is that the Evora 4 can disassemble into many parts, which I actually really like, because what that means is you can get real deep cleaning with the Evora 4. If every so often you do a deep cleanse of your mask, which I highly recommend, you'll be able to get into all those nooks and crannies a lot easier when you're able to disassemble it to the level that you can with the Evora 4. And I highly recommend that people do this. We're breathing into this equipment every single night. There's a lot of moisture in there. It's easy for bacteria and pathogens to be growing. We don't want to be breathing that deep into our lungs. So it's a good habit to get into every week or every month at worst case. Really give a deep cleanse of your equipment, and the Evora 4 will let you do that. It's high quality materials. It's a nice feeling mask, a little bit more traditional. It does have a couple drawbacks though, and those are that there are a lot of straps, a lot of headgear, and they do go close to your eyes. So they do kind of intrude a little bit on your field of view. And also there's no air diffusion for like a mesh material like we see on the Eson mask. So it is a bit noisier. It's quite a noisy mask, and we do hear people complain about that a fair bit. But also one of the main issues with this mask is the front tube joint. It doesn't rotate around freely. So if you move around a lot at night, you're a side sleeper, you're a fairly active sleeper, you might find that this gets caught, and if it does, it's just going to pull. It's not going to be able to be flexible in how it rotates around. So that could be a deal breaker. But no bar across the forehead, so you can use it with glasses. It has a good seal overall, so it's still a pretty respectable mask. But I do think some of those drawbacks do knock it down a little bit. I'm going to put this as our first inductee into a series of unfortunate apnea events. Hey, look at that. We've got one in every category. That's for you, my OCD friends. All right, next we have the Evora Nasal. Now, the Evora Nasal is obviously the nasal version of the Evora Full with a couple differences. Firstly, the straps sit a little further away from your eyes, which is nice, so we spread that pressure around a bit more onto your cheekbones there. It also is obviously more minimal. It's not quite as minimal as some of these other Fisher & Paykel masks that we'll look at in just a second. And also it's easy to disassemble for good cleaning and then reassembly. It's pretty much a bog standard middle of the road nasal masks with nothing particularly stand out about it, but solid option overall. Now, the Evora Nasal shares some of the same drawbacks that the Evora Full does. Namely, the diffusion on the front is just drilled holes into the cushion, so there's really no quietening of the air that comes out. It's quite a loud mask. Also, it has that same front ball joint that doesn't rotate freely, so if you're an active sleeper, this might get pulled. Also, the cushions can easily get dislodged, especially for someone like me. I struggle with this mask, and that's because of my nose shape. I have a pointy, kind of longer nose, it's the English in me, and it doesn't really fit well. I can never get a good seal when using the Evora Nasal, but I've also seen people online complain that if you have a particularly short nose, that it also doesn't seal very well for you. The headgear adjustments are kind of limited, which means that there can be some digging in, a bit more red markings on your face as well. So overall, this is a mask that I probably wouldn't recommend for too many people, but if you just want a pretty standard nasal mask, it could work all right for you. So I'm going to put this in my third tier. Honestly, it's somewhere between these two. I'm just going to be kind. Like I said, I like Fisher & Paykel. Up next, oh, I've been excited about this one, the Nova Micro. Now I'm going to be upfront with you guys. This is one of my favorite CPAP masks on the market. The reason I love it, it's so minimal, it's so lightweight, yet I find that I can get a really nice seal with it. It has pillow masks, so those tend to get better seals. Now, for some of you, you might not like pillows, you might have tried them and had an issue. I'd encourage you to keep trying. If you have a deviated septum, it might not work for you at all. But if you can make pillow masks work for you, recommend giving the Nova Micro a shot. Now, I have seen some people complain about a seal with this mask. And honestly, I think that's largely down to them putting it on wrong. There is a certain way you need to put this mask on to ensure that you get a really nice tight seal. And if you can do that, I find this mask is awesome. You get all the benefits of a minimal mask, as well as having a good seal, and the pillows do not invert on this, unlike the Solo. Now, we've actually made a video on how to correctly fit the Nova Micro. I'll leave a link to that above me and also in the description below, so go check that out. If you're thinking of trying the Nova Micro, I encourage you to, and if for whatever reason it doesn't work out for you, no offense taken. Don't forget, you'll be covered under your 60-day mask guarantee that RespShop offers. So even if you've tried this mask and it's used, you can return it for a full store credit. You can't say fairer than that. It's our way of trying to make sure that you're equipped with the best equipment that you can so you get the best sleep possible. There are a couple things about the Micro that I have heard people complain about. That is, if you have a particularly large nose, you might find that the Micro just doesn't work for you, even at the largest cushion size. That's just because of the way that the mask is designed. Being so minimal, it could only accommodate a certain cushion size. So for some people, a small percentage, it just will not work. Fair enough. Also, if you're someone that has long, shiny hair, oh gosh, I feel so bad for you. You might find that the head straps do move around a little bit on the Micro. But other than that, there's really very little fault that I can find in this mask. You can fight me on this below. I'll fight you back. I'm putting this in my Lord of the Dreams. Brevida, we did it! Yes! Confetti! Alright, up next. Oh, the newest mask on this list. The Nova Nasal. Fisher & Paykel have got some good ones. Now, the Nova Nasal sacrifices a little bit of that minimalism that you get with the Nova Micro, and instead it focuses a bit more on stability. Now, this is a nasal mask that covers the bottom portion of your nose entirely, so it's not pillows if you find that pillows don't work for you. I really, really like this mask, and it seems like a lot of people are really enjoying it, these early adopters that have started using it. It has straps that do go out and then up, so it has great field of view when you're wearing this. You can use glasses, no problem. And it also has a pretty unique feature where you don't fit the mask on over the top of your head like you do for almost every other mask. This has what's called a swing fit design where the straps come out and clip in. Now, we film CPAP masks a lot. You can ask the guys. Sometimes I struggle getting it to line up just right. This is nice and easy, clips in perfect every time. It does use clips again, not magnets, so like we talked about before, could be good, could be bad, depending on your situation. It has a couple other unique features. Firstly, you get the option of attaching the tube to the top of your head. Honestly, it looks a bit funky. It's going to block your field of view, sit there straight away, so probably don't want to do that before you hit the sack. But it can be nice if you're someone that moves around a lot at the night and you find that your tubing often gets twisted when it sits out in front of you. That's just another option. Use it if you want to. It also has what's called a roll fit design to this cushion. I mentioned that on the Vitera, the same kind of deal. It gives a lot of flexibility in your movement while keeping the seal good. So these are all pretty impressive things. And also it has new diffusion technology on it. And we tested that. It's a very quiet mask. It's the first time Fisher & Paykel, I feel like, have put a lot of effort into getting a mask to be as quiet as possible. And I think they actually did a really good job. Very comparable to ResMed, maybe even a little bit better. So lots of pros for this mask. Honestly, the only con is it's not quite as minimal or as light as some other Fisher & Paykel nasal masks. But if you want that extra stability, Nova Nasal is a great option. Told you I like Fisher & Paykel. This one has to go in our top tier once more. Which leaves us with just one, the Fisher & Paykel Brevida. Now, honestly, there's not a huge amount to report on the Brevida nasal pillow mask. It's an older style mask of Fisher & Paykel. I'd say it's minimalist-ish, if that's a word. No, it's not a word. It has that same mesh for the diffusion in the front, and it has the sort of split back of the headgear, which some people like for that little bit of extra stability. However, leaks. If you look at some of the reviews of this mask, you'll find that a lot of people struggle with leaks with the Brevida. Also, the pillows can invert, which leads to leaks. So be aware of that if you're looking at this mask. The mask fit often is not good for a lot of people. The headgear can slip or come loose. The clips on it can easily wear out. I haven't had a lot of luck with this mask, as you can probably tell. But overall, the reviews are okay. A lot of people are positive, but you'll see if you dig a little into those reviews, there's quite a few people that complain about the fit and about the leaks. So I think Fisher & Paykel have had a lot of hits, especially in recent time. They're a top 40 artist for sure, but I think the Brevida is going to be one of the ones in my air hunger games. Sorry. So there we go. That wraps up my tier rankings for the Fisher & Paykel masks. This is what I put. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below what mask you use, why you love it, why you hate it, why you're thinking of switching. It's all good stuff. This is a community that we're building. If you find that you're just about to start your CPAP journey and you're not sure what mask to do, let me know your situation below and I'll give you 1 or 2 recommendations for you to check out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I know these videos are a bit longer. I really appreciate you guys. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well. And as always, friends, I'll see you on the next one. So make sure you sleep tight. Bye-bye for now.